last night, Bruce Cassidy was fired from the Boston Bruins head coaching position. Not only was this a big surprise to many people alike inside the NHL fan base, as well as a lot of fans of the Boston Bruins themselves, it also makes you wonder where he may land next. Now, this guy who has already proved that has a great ability to go out and win game after game, but what is his best fit out of the possible opportunities that are open? And today, I want to talk to you about why I believe he is the perfect fit for the Vegas Golden Knights. Now, as you all know, that is a team that I am a huge fan of, the Vegas Golden Knights, and there has been a vacancy for a good portion since their season ended at the end of regular season, and a lot of questions still remain about who will be the coach after they fired Pete DeBoer, and I think Bruce Cassidy might be exactly what we're all looking for. But if this is your first time on the channel and you enjoy this content, give me a like. I really appreciate it. And if you come back on a daily basis and you really enjoy this content, or you want to tune in for another video, why not subscribe? Because I have content that comes out daily, NHL, NBA, and NFL. And as always, give me some criticism down below so I can improve for you guys. I'm really trying to make this channel better and better every single video. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get right into this. Bruce Cassidy. He was a huge, huge help for this Boston Bruins team over this past 6 years. And I think his ability to coach, whether their team is doing really good, whether all the players are on the ice, whether they're injured, he just continues to coach through it. So let's start with his statistics. His statistics, for one, he made the Stanley Cup Finals. He did not win the Stanley Cup, but he made the Stanley Cup Finals in 2018 and 2019 with the Boston Bruins. They ended up losing in 7 games to the Blues, so they're only 1 game away from winning it all. So they're right there. They're right on the cusp. Not only that, but he did this once. He's only done this once, but he's only coached 8 years. So yes, it's a small serving size, and only 6 years were with the Bruins. 2 were really, really, really early in the 2000s with the Washington Capitals. But he takes the Blues to 7 in 2018-2019. And the following year, he ends up winning the Jack Adams Award in 2019-2020, which is the Coach of the Year award if you did not know what that was, with a 44, 14, and 12 record with the Boston Bruins. So he goes to the finals. He ends up losing in 7. And then the very next year, he continues to show that this team is very good and wins the Jack Adams Award, Coach of the Year award. This team has been coached. Not only was it a very, very good team, but he definitely helped raise the bar for them total overall. His complete record throughout his entire career with Washington and the Boston Bruins, his total 8-year career as a head coach, he has 292 wins, 155 losses, 9 ties, and 53 overtime losses in the regular season, which is a .635 win percentage. That is a very, very good win percentage, especially for a career that is longer than, say, 3 or 4 years. Sometimes you see coaches that have only coached a couple years, and they'll have like extremely good winning percentage because they're on a good team. Once it hits past like the 5-year mark and on, that's about when I start like actually paying attention to win percentage, and a .635 is a very, very good win percentage. Now, on the other side of things, he's 38-41 as a coach in the playoffs, which is a .481 win percentage. And although you're right there at 500, it's a little bit below what you would hope for. What this kind of tells you, obviously you're losing more series than you're winning, but it also kind of leads into the fact that they're losing bigger, like every series is kind of close, but the series that they're winning is really close, and the series that they're losing has like a bit of a gap, kind of. I don't really know exactly what to spend. When it's 38-41, for one, you shouldn't be too worried because only 2 teams can make it to the finals. Only 1 team can like really win it, And you can technically have a winning record in the playoffs if you sweep first round and then lose 4 but win 1. There you go. You have a winning record in that playoffs. But it's really hard to consistently, year after year, have a winning record in the playoffs. So 38-41 is not a big worry. You would like to see that improve, obviously, especially if it's a team that he's coming to that you're a fan of. But a 4.81 is very good, and a 6.35 win percentage is extremely good because that means the more games you win, the higher seed you're going to be, which means the worse competition you'll face early on. I wouldn't say worse, but based on rankings, statistically, they are a worse competition you're facing early on, which is good news. And he did make the playoffs every single year with the Boston Bruins. All 6 years, the Bruins made the playoffs. Now, how does he coach? What does he do to a team? What does he bring to a team? Now, as we all know, the Bruins are a very gritty team, and they consistently kept up to par with that over the past 6 years. Now, if that's strictly because of his coaching or because of their play style, it's a bit of both, but the fact is whether he plays a gritty coaching style or not, it's going to rub off on him when he's working with the Bruins for 6 years. One of the hardest hitting teams in the entire league. When you're working with them for 6 years, it's going to rub off on you, and that's kind of something that the Vegas Golden Knights need. And like I said, this video is surrounding him himself and why he fits with Vegas. So we'll talk about why he fits with Vegas here in a second. But how does he coach? For one, very physical play. His team, yes, is the Bruins. Yes, that's what they're known for. But they were third last year in hits. Very, very good. They'll smack you against the boards. They'll hit you very, very hard. They don't care about penalty minutes. They'll take them and they'll do very good in that penalty time. Speaking of penalty time and penalty kill, they have a very, very strong penalty kill over the 6 years that he played as a coach with the Boston Bruins. 4 of those 6 years, they were a top 5 penalty kill percentage. Top 5. Extremely, extremely good. 4 of 6 years with the Boston Bruins are top 5. Very, very good, especially for a Vegas team that has not been as great at the penalty kill over the past few years. Now, something that's extremely good for Vegas is the power play. He drives a very good power play. 5 of the 6 years he played with the Boston Bruins, they had a top 10 power play percentage. And the 1 year that they weren't top 10, they were still in the top half of the league. Now, the reason why I'm doing out of the 6 years with the Bruins is just because how big of a gap there is from his first coaching stint to his second coaching stint. He learned a ton. Everything changed. Yes, he coached there. Yes, you do have to look at that statistically, which we did in the record. But I think it's a lot better to look at how he coaches and how well he's done in the past 6 years than 20 years ago when he coached for 2 years with the Capitals. I hope that would make sense for you guys. But he also, powerful hits. He a very, very gritty team. They're willing to get into the boards, wrestle for that puck, get in front of the goal, block shots, which is something that the Vegas Golden Knights are very good at. And just the ability to, take the hits, deal the hits, and just really get in the mental of the other team and just make them worry about getting hit and just starting fights and all that stuff. Now, one thing that we really need to talk about, and the whole video kind of surrounds it, is the coaching opportunity in the Vegas. Now, there are other coaching opportunities, and I want to cover that real quick before we get into what he brings to the team. Other coaching opportunities for the Vegas Golden Knights. Barry Trotz, who I already covered a video on just a couple weeks back. I may have that pop up for you guys. I did a video on Barry Trotz. I think he would be a good fit, although the winning percentage for Bruce Cassidy is a little bit better. Barry has more experience. He knows a little bit more. He can maybe influence some of these players a little bit more. He's still a very good option. Now you have Joel Quinvelli. I hope I said his name right. Again, a very good guy. This was the Panthers head coach. I hope I'm not mixing him and John up. Panthers head coach did very, very good. And again, another great coaching option for this team. Maybe doesn't fit the archetype that you're looking for, but still a very good option if the other options start to fall off the board. And lastly, as I have listed, is John Tortorelli. Again, quite a good coach, maybe on the lower tier out of the guys that have been optioned here. But if it comes down to it and you got to get a coach, I like the idea of bringing this guy in, and I do think he brings more to this team than Pete DeBoer did in his final stint with this team. Now, let's talk about what does Bruce Cassidy bring to this team. For one, winning. 6.51 win percentage, or 6.35 win percentage. Very, very good winning percentage. If you bring that to this team, boom, you're in the playoffs. I mean, you win a few more games, you're in the playoffs. This past year, this team already wants to win. This team's got the guys to win. And everything that you need is already on this team aside for one thing, which we'll cover here in a second. He also brings extremely, extremely good power play and penalty kill, which is two things that this team has struggled with. The Vegas Golden Knights last year were in the bottom half of the league in power play, but when they played without a goalie in net, so 6-on-5 instead of 5-on-4, they were one of the best in the league. Without a goalie in net, they were one of the best in the league at getting a goal. When they had a goalie in net and they were a man up, they were one of the worst. And I'd hope that Bruce Cassidy coming in would be able to bring, that development where they can still be one of the best in the league without a goalie in there. So when you need that in that tough situation late in the game, you can still have that. But hopefully it also improves the ability for the Vegas Golden Knights to score when they have the goalie and are a man up, which is something that was a huge, huge struggle past year. And one quick thing that I guess technically relates to, being up a man or all that stuff is, although statistically I can't really find anything, you would hope that Bruce Cassidy, when he's on this team, would see some weak spots and would directly target them. Now, there was a lot of struggles late in the season in reference to shootouts. Pete DeBoer was the coach. We do not know exactly what was occurring in practice, but there's no way they did enough shootout practice in those situations late in the year there's no way they did enough shootouts and still went 0 for 17. And I feel like if Bruce Cassidy was coaching in that situation, he saw his team struggle and go 0 for 7 in a shootout, no matter if he thought they were going to have another shootout, he would practice it a lot that next game or that next practice and be like, hey, we lost because of this. We need to go all in on working on this right now, today. And that's what he would do. Pete DeBoer may have done that. We don't know. We can't see into the practices. But I feel like Bruce Cassidy would really zone in on weak points no matter where you are in the season and just really focus in on them and fix them. And maybe Vegas doesn't go 0-17 and lose games that you have to win. Nonetheless, he also brings a very, very good penalty kill, which Vegas over the past 5 years has done good with, but this past year maybe not as excelling as they normally do. Again, like we talked about, top 5 penalty kill in 4 of 6 years. Very, very good number to see. If Vegas is top 5 in penalty kill along with these goalies that most of us trust with Logan Thompson and Robin Lehner, I think that's very, very good news for this team, for this organization. And one last thing, which I think is the most important thing that Bruce Cassidy can bring to this team, is that gritty, grime, physical level of play. That was something that was really missed this past year. Anytime a Vegas Golden Knights player would get hit, which they were one of the highest in the league at getting hit, there was really no repercussions for it. You didn't have that guy who brought that physical mentality like Ryan Reeves did after they let him go. A guy that would stand up for a teammate when there was a bad hit, a legal hit, and he'd go fight for them. There wasn't that worry of the other team that if I do something wrong, I'm going to get punched. I'm going to get hit later on in the game. I'm going to get slammed against the boards. There was no big worry because there was no physical play on the team. And I think what Bruce Cassidy can do is make every single player on this team want to be that guy. You can make Mark Stone, who, yes, he's paid a lot. Yeah, you don't want to see him getting in fights all the time, but you can make him want to stand up for his teammates and just go fight somebody every second that there's some messed up hits going on. You can make these younger guys like Zach Whitecloud and Nick Waugh, who maybe aren't the most physical and ready to fight, but you can make them want to fight and stand up for guys. You can form physical players like Ryan Reeves out of the guys you already have, and you don't have to go out and get a physical guy, but it is still a good option to have, and I think that's something that Bruce Cassidy brings to this team that's very good, because then Vegas isn't getting hit as much. Maybe there's less injuries. You're in a better situation late in the year because you're not worried about all these injuries. You're paying these top guys to be top guys. which means you need them on the ice. If Mark Stone's hurt, if Max Pacioretty's hurt, Alex Bertrangelo's hurt, Jack Eichel, any of these guys are hurt because of these hits that aren't getting, repercussions for, and they get hit and they get injured, you're down a man that's extremely important to your team, and there's not much you can do to replace him because of one of the most important things for the coach when he comes in to look at is the cap. I did a video on the cap for the Vegas Golden Knights. If you'd like to check that out, I would highly recommend it because it's a very confusing topic, and I know a lot of Vegas Golden Knights fans don't fully understand it, and I still don't myself because I know all these weird little loops that you can do that just make it so the cap is pretty much non-existent. But the cap is something that Bruce Cassidy, when he comes to the team, and the general managers are going to have to look at, analyze. Who can we keep? Who do we need to move on from? And just a lot of information is going to need to be taken in from who they bring in. But that is the video. I know this is shorter than normal, but when I'm covering one singular coach, and he's only coached for 8 years, I can't pull a huge pool of information like I could with Barry Trotz. Oh, that was a nice voice crack. But, I think I brought a good amount of information to you guys. So if you enjoyed this content, give me a like. If you really enjoyed this content and you'd like to see more like it, why not subscribe? Because I have content daily, NFL, NBA, and NHL. Also, comment down below, who is your pick for the Vegas Golden Knights coaching position? Do you want Bruce Cassidy? Do you want Barry Trotz? Did you think it was a wrong decision to move on from Pete DeBoer? Is there someone else that maybe I didn't mention that you'd want to coach this team? But as always, I hope it taught you something today. Hope it made you smile. Hope it made you laugh. That's something that's really important to me. Affect someone else's life in a great way because every day can be a good day if we put in the effort to make it one. And as always, you guys all be safe out there.